Hello, and welcome from Software Engineering of America. Today we are going to be discussing manual and automated password reset options. My name is Mel. I am one of SEA's Level 1 support technicians. Today's webinar is divided into 4 categories: the costs, the risks, the hows of an automated solution, and then our recommendations for a password reset solution's capabilities. Interesting data being presented here, but let's see if we can break it down into some meaningful and useful information. Now, 2,500. Wow, sounds like a lot of passwords being reset. But if you have people working on the system 365 days a year, that's only 7 password resets a day. Only open 5 days a week, that's 10 password resets a day. How about $50 in 40 minutes? A typical manual password reset will involve multiple people. There is the end user, possibly someone from change management. How long will you have to wait for them to reply? You're certainly not expected to know everyone that signs on to your IBMI, so perhaps a manager or human resources needs to be consulted prior to resetting this user's password. Is this a consultant or business partner making the request? Are they authorized to log on? And then there's the time required to document this change. So yes, it certainly can all add up. Now, for me, the blue and gray circles identify the most critical elements of password reset. Different managers will have different viewpoints depending upon how they are affected, either by a work stoppage or interrupted to verify the user's request. How about if you're the customer on hold while somebody is resetting their password? Now, work stoppages. This gets even worse if the password reset is required during other than the primary shift's normal working hours. There are people that will be depending upon the user with a disabled profile or failed password condition. If you are the person of a work stoppage, this will be putting a strain on yourself, as well as the business's relationship with your coworkers, customers, business partners, whomever you are affecting. There can be consequences if your SLA agreement has penalties included and you fail to meet the requirements. Phishing. Have you ever picked up your phone to see your own caller ID being displayed as the incoming call, or answered a phone call, or clicked on an email to reply, only to find out the other end is not who they say they are? This sure seems to be happening a lot these days. It's just too easy to trick somebody that's very busy. Just who really is making this password request? Are they some hacker that's out there? Also, how do you know the help desk person did not write down the user ID and password for a high authority user? This is very confidential information being exposed when a manual password reset process is used. Was the change documented and fully documented, meaning all those contacted to verify the request? Is the log available online for managers and auditors? Now, a lot is always going on within the IT department. Do you need it to interrupt what you're working on just to handle a manual reset, so-called simple password reset? By now, everyone here today is seeing the benefits of having an automated password reset application in place. Now, security and shorter work stoppages are going to be the biggest winners. Now, we're showing an example of a 3-step process that will complete a typical automated password reset event. Notice two steps are totally automated by the application. Only the end user and the application are working on correcting this situation. Let us review what we would recommend you consider when looking for your automated password reset application. First up has to be two-factor authentication, the ability to positively identify the requester. Next, extremely helpful to getting a project like this off the ground is an assisted or automated process of getting all of your existing users enrolled and using the process. You want to have to install and maintain absolutely nothing on either the smartphone or the desktop of the end users. You want to look for something that runs from a web-enabled program or from an IBM i green screen, for example. Nothing on the end user's phone or desktop. You want to have different policies in place for the different types of users that will be using this automated application. Now, not all users are created equal or have equal rights or job responsibilities or the same access to confidential information. Logging, the ability to review, have automated alerts, printouts, etc. for the history of password resets being both requested as well as completed. Okay, so I will now be passing the baton over to Lloyd, another member of SEA's Level 1 support team, to walk us through a demonstration of how this automated process might work.
Thank you, Mel. And once again, I'm Lloyd, and I'm also a senior IBM technical support uh, engineer here at SEA. And as Mel demonstrated, the reality for a capable automated password reset solution has not only become only clearer, but also necessary in order for shops to function more efficiently and securely. Fortunately, we have exactly the solution you would be looking for here at SEA. So I'll be demonstrating that solution live at this time. That password reset solution is one of our many security related solutions that falls under our iSecurity umbrella. So we are going to be looking at option 22, password reset. Now, with our solution, you'll be able to enroll persons automatically into the product. You can either do that manually or you can have configuration which allows the user to automatically enroll themselves upon log on. You can also import those persons' data from an HR file that resides on the IBM I. So you have many ways of getting the persons enrolled in the product, those persons that you want to be able to access the solution moving forward. You'll also be able to define different classes and assign them according to department, perhaps functionality related to that user. Those classes will determine what type of access the end user will be getting as far as the reset functionality. But let's look at the solution in action. So let me bring up another session. And here's a sign-on screen. And I'm going to attempt to sign on as a user on this system. But unfortunately, I do not remember what my password should be. So I need to access that password reset solution at this point. Our product is shipped with credentials called Forgot, and the default password is the word password. This account can be copied and make your own if you don't think that forgot and password is not appropriate for your environment. But for our demonstration purposes, we're going to be using the forgot user today. So I'll type in the password as the password for, and it should take me, according to my the class that was assigned to that user, it'll take me to my initial identification questions. These questions are set by the admin. For our purpose here, we have decided that we're gonna be using email address, first name, and surname as the identification questions. But these questions can be different. It can vary from organization to organization. So you can decide which initial questions you'd want to have the user answer in order to identify themselves as a person who's authorized to use the password reset utility. So let's go ahead and enter the information here. And let's choose a first name for that user and a last name. And depending on the class, for this particular class that was assigned to this user, there is two-factor authentication enabled where a verification code is sent via email. Now, this verification code can be sent to a cell phone as well. So you have a couple of ways to send out this verification code if you authorize the or you enable that two-factor authentication mode. And we'll copy that and paste it into the verification field. And optionally, you can also have the end user enter some private questions to be able to make sure that they are indeed a person sitting at their desk and are accessing the password reset utility. So this is an optional feature. If you want to enable this feature, you can do it at the class level as well. Um, let's enter the answers to these questions. Given that I've answered them correctly, I hit enter. And according to my class, I'm able to not only reset my password and send me out a temporary password, I can also re-enable my account if I were disabled. Now, you can configure your class to do specifically the re-enable your account or reset my password only. So you can certainly decide which option to give them or maybe give them the option to choose both. So in this case, I don't remember what my password is, so I'm going to take option 2. And the password class also it tells me that I can generate that new temporary password to the screen. So the end user sees the temporary password, which is randomly generated, appear on the screen. This can also be sent via email or to a cell phone. So you have that flexibility on how you want the temporary password to be sent out to the end user. So let me copy that temporary password, and if I hit enter, I'm back to my sign on screen. I'm now ready to reset my password. And then I can paste that copied temporary password there. And now you're accessing the IBM I password reset process. And then I can paste the current password, which is still the temporary password, and then generate my new password. So I'm going to enter and enter, and voila, I'm in. I can continue to work as I did before without any outside intervention. So it's all automatic. As long as you're enrolled in the product, you're able to perform the reset functionality um, seamlessly. So you don't have to rely on a help desk solution. Although, if you need this solution um, to be working in that fashion, you can use it where the admin is actually generating the temporary password for the end user when he calls in for the temporary access. So you can use it in that way if you want to, but we do recommend that you use the fully automated functionality. And that's pretty much our brief live demonstration today. We're now move on to our question and answer phase of the webinar. And let me bring that up here. And let me look at what questions might have come in while we were on the demo. And I see a question that just popped up. It says, it's from Joe. It says, what other items can be used to validate a user? And that's an excellent question. We do have other criteria that you might select to use as a unique identifiers for the initial questions. Some examples would be birth date, perhaps an employee number or an ID number, an office phone number, for example. But the good news is you can construct your own questions in addition to taking advantage of the predefined questions that are shipped with the product. We have another question that came in. Emily is asking, can you configure the structure of the generated password? There's really no need to do this presently in the product. The password is randomly generated in the default structure. So it's a more secure way of generating that password so no one can have access to generating that on the fly. All right, here's another question that came in from Steve. It says, what is the length of time the issued password is valid for? And the length of time can be set when you're creating the classes that you're assigning your end users to, according to your password reset policy. So in other words, you'll be given the opportunity to set the password validity period at configuration time when you're configuring those classes. Okay, that's all the questions I see that came in. Well, thank you for the excellent questions and for attending our password reset webinar today. For additional information, you may contact us at www.csoft.com or contact us by telephone 800-272-7322 or 516-328-7000 or via email at sales@csoft.com. Thank you again and have a wonderful day.